Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the video. In today's video, I'm gonna be diving into so many of the books that I've read in this last year, ones that have helped my health, my wellness, my fitness, my nutrition, my mindset, my business, my all the things. And if you're new to the channel, first and foremost, I want to say welcome. And if you're coming back, well, it's great to see you. I haven't done one of these videos in a long time, but you know what? I just decided that I've been reading so many good things. It's time for me to share the knowledge, share the wealth with you guys. So welcome to my top reads of 2021. And I want you guys to stay tuned because I'm giving away not one, not two, but 3 collections of probably the top 3 books that have put me on my path in terms of personal development. And honestly, a lot of the books that got me back into reading overall. So stay tuned, your chance to win a collection of 3 books, 3 of you, giveaway, details coming soon. Okay, so these books are gonna be in no particular order, but I'm just gonna kind of look over my bookshelf and grab ones I know that I've read recently, ones that I've read this year, in the last year, and kind of just give you a quick synopsis of why I liked it and why I think you will too. So, all right, here we go. Actually, this is one of the books that I read most recently. I picked this up on my trip to Tulum, which is actually where I got this necklace right here. So it's a nice little like Tulum Reader's Digest situation going on. This is Dopamine Nation, Finding Balance in the Age of Indulgence by Dr. Anna Lembke. This book, first of all, I think Dr. Lembke was really on when she wrote this book. It was just written so well. I read through it so fast. And what I appreciated about her and her writing style was that it was very like personal and then clinical. It was real life experience coupled with her expert experience. So she really does know her shit when it comes to learning about, explaining, diagnosing addiction. That's her background. That's what she does in all forms: alcohol addiction, substance abuse, sex addicts, smartphone addiction. I mean, you name it, we have an addiction problem in the world these days, just with our access to a lot of different things, technology, so on and so forth. But this book, Dopamine Nation, what I loved most about it was that it kind of shined a light on a lot of forms, a lot of areas of addiction. For me personally, when I think of addiction, I was really thinking the most of substance abuse, alcohol, sure, yeah, smartphones and Instagram and social media and stuff this day and age. But honestly, the way that she highlighted the forms of addiction and how easily we as humans can get addicted to things, to places, to people, it just made me really kind of take a step back and go, whoa, where maybe am I addicted to some things that I didn't fully realize? So her book, really well written. I flew through it. I read through it, the whole thing, in about a 3-4 day trip on vacation. And so I think this is an incredible read. And if you're interested in learning more about how the brain works, the psychology of addiction, and how maybe you can find ways to separate yourself from even just slight addictions in your life, or hopefully help somebody who has a real addiction problem in your life, this is a really good read. Okay, book number 2. Actually, this one is right next to Dopamine Nation. This is Lifelines. This is a doctor's journey in the fight for public health. This is by another doctor, another MD, Dr. Leanna Wen. And honestly, I had not heard of this book at all, but like the final little checkout line at the grocery store where you just find yourself buying a bunch of gum or snacks that you didn't need or want. That was kind of my scenario when I got this book. I went to my favorite bookstore here in LA. Shout out Book Soup up on Sunset. And I went there for a couple other books and I saw this up at the front. It really got me intrigued because the whole aspect of public health, well, that's my background. Long story short, I used to work in clinical medicine. I was a clinical health coach at a concierge medical practice for many years. I got my master's in health promotion. So this book, the title, really just stood out to me. And this one was great. As I kind of dove in, I realized that her and I have a lot of overlap. She actually went to George Washington, shout out Washington, DC. I got my master's at American University, which is literally just on top of the hill above George Washington. And this was a really unique personal story, and it really caught my attention. Honestly, the very first chapter is titled Chi Ku, and she's Chinese American, and Chi Ku in Mandarin means to eat bitter. And she starts off telling her story of quite literally how her and her family, this immigrant family from China, had to just eat bitter, eat that shit sandwich, just kind of take the lumps as they came. And it really showed me that there's a lot of ways in my life, starting off, as a white American, not to get too into it here, but just privilege, and coming from an American family out of the gate set me up for success in a lot of different ways that I think a lot of us can reflect on. Maybe we take for granted or didn't fully realize, but she and her family fought tooth and nail to come to this country. And it's just a great reminder of the sacrifice that a lot of people have to make in order to just get to a country, get to a place where they can practice medicine, where they can practice their religion, they can get a good paying job, and they can have success in a lot of different forms for their family. And so that was a great personal way that she wove into that story. And honestly, it really drove home for me kind of some similarities. Chiku, to eat bitter, my family mantra and my mission, ever forward, to live a life ever forward, that no matter what, we find the we find the advantage in the adversity and we push through. And her story, wow, it is truly, truly, truly that. And then what she does is, in her own personal story, kind of find a way to highlight all the forms of public health that goes on around us. From poor people, from homeless people, from food deserts, from inability to access good medicine in a lot of big cities. It was just like literally a slap in the face of how health promotion and public health is truly all around us, and the behind the doors actions and lobbying and things that it takes to just get people basic needs. Really, really love this book, especially if you're in the healthcare industry, if you're in public health. I highly, highly recommend checking out Lifelines. Okay, now let me mosey on down a little bit to another shelf and find one. Ooh, yeah, okay, here we go. Lifespan. This one, ooh, so damn good, so good. Lifespan by Dr. David Sinclair. He's a PhD doctor. Why we age and why we don't have to. I forget where or why I heard of this. Maybe it's from like a podcast or something, but 2021, the whole aspect of resilient aging, lifespan, longevity. I'm all about health and wellness, but this year I've had a big look inside as to what makes us tick literally on the cellular level, our genetics, family history, predisposition, things like that, and how we can quite literally improve the quality of our life from the inside out so that we're actually living longer, higher quality life, which is like a big focus of mine. And I think a lot of people this year too, given the whole COVID pandemic and everything. But Lifespan, this whole book was, it was a gem. I actually read this one in conjunction to listening to the Audible, the audiobook. If you don't have Audible, you can check it out. I'll put a link down in the description box below. You should be able to get this for free. If you want to try Audible, you can get a free 30-day trial. And then after that, I think it's just a couple dollars a month and you get credits. And I highly recommend listening to books in conjunction to reading them for like maximum absorption. But it's also great. I pop in my AirPods, I go on a walk, I listen to a book, or when I'm traveling. And plus you can put it on like 1x, 2x, 3x speed. I think I listened to Lifespan on about 1.4x and it was great. Dr. David Sinclair did a great job. Again, kind of the theme of all the books so far is really sharing a personal story so that you don't get kind of lost in the overwhelming amount of science sometimes that there is when trying to explain bigger concepts. This guy, if you guys want to check out, he was recently on, or not that long ago, he was on an interview with Joe Rogan. Highly recommend checking out that episode. It's just a great reminder that, like, despite no matter what is going on in our life, if we just focus on the positive and we focus on how resilient our bodies truly want to be and how often, literally all the time, they are fighting for homeostasis. They're fighting to not only maintain this equilibrium of functioning well, breathing well, living well, but with just a little bit of tweaking and a little bit of improvement in things that we do or don't do, our sleep, our hydration, circadian rhythm, certain supplements and superfoods and things like that, we can quite literally measure how we are improving our chromosomes, our telomeres, our cellular health. These are all things that we know that when they go unchecked or they begin to fall apart and inflammation sets in into a lot of different systems and organs in the body, degradation sets in, disease sets in, chronic illness sets in, decreased quality of life sets in. And we have the power through a lot of the stuff that he talks about in this book to not only pause that and stop it in some cases, but in a lot to reverse it. I don't know about you, but I would love to find ways, easy ways I can implement into my lifestyle that are gonna help me feel great today, but keep me moving and grooving as long as possible and live a full quality life. So lifespan, why we age and why we don't have to, I really recommend for damn near every human being. All right, what else we got here? While I'm picking out the next book, why don't you guys go ahead and leave a comment down below. What are some books, a book that you have read this year, you know, for your business, for your life, for personal development, maybe a memoir? I personally kind of read mostly nonfiction, but let me know what maybe is a book or two that you've read this year that's really impacted your life. Drop it down in the comments below. Thank you. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna head over to the other bookshelf because I just remembered one I want to share. All right, so if you guys know me, if you've been following me on this channel or on Instagram, then you definitely know that your boy is a big Ryan Holiday fan. He is quite probably my favorite living author because I love his just simplicity in writing, and I love how he goes back to so many great examples in American history and world history, stoicism, of just what it takes to be a good quality human being. And again, a reminder that a lot of the things that we're after, personal development, peace, inner peace, the meaning of life, a lot of these things, I think we personally have a lot already inside of us. And his writings and his examples really just shine a light on the power of the truth of that, is that a lot of times what we need, what we want, we have right here. It's just a matter of kind of peeling back the layers. And so one of the books that I think does a really good job of describing that is not only how he writes about, again, finding what we have inside of us, but what happens when we reach that barrier. One of the barriers to, I think, becoming a better version of ourselves is we kind of get afraid. Fear sets in, whether that's fear of inaction, fear of what if, fear of shame, fear of being laughed at, fear of failure, a lot of different things. But this book, Courage is Calling, Fortune Favors the Brave. And I want to share with you a quick little passage. One of the first sections that I really kind of highlight. I took a lot of notes in this book. And I think this is a great way to kind of define what courage is. Courage is honest commitment to noble ideals. The opposite of courage is not, as some argue, being afraid. It's apathy. It's disenchantment. It's despair. It's throwing up your hands and saying, what's the point anyway? And I love his interpretation of courage that way. And I made a note here in the next page to kind of describe my own interpretation a little bit. And I wrote that it's not an outcome, but rather a process. Courage is a process. Constant improvement to the recipe through more nobler ingredients. Yeah, when it comes to courage, I think a lot of us could use a little help. His work has really helped me over the years, really shine a light on ego, shine a light on ways that I am getting in my own way. And so through understanding obstacles better, through understanding myself, my ego a little bit better, and then finding ways to kind of harness my own virtues. One of the other things that often kind of presents itself is fear. Fear of action, fear of inaction, like I said. But you know what? If we can understand where, why, and how fear is showing up and trying to get to the root cause of it, it really is just a matter of a few steps we can implement into our daily life consistently. Like any healthy habit we're trying to create or personify, we can work through that fear in some big ways and really kind of step into our own greatness. All right, now real quick, I'm gonna highlight a couple books that I have been reading, rereading, the tangible copy, audio book, the Audible version. A big part of my work this year has been working a lot of my mental and emotional health. And like I've been talking about on pretty much every other platform, especially YouTube and Instagram, I've been integrating the use of psychedelics. I've been using psilocybin, MDMA. I've gone through professional guided sessions, with ketamine psychotherapy. I've done just a lot of work in this world, and I still have a lot to go. But there are certain books that have been really helping me in this journey. And so if you're interested in learning more about expanding your mind through altered states of consciousness, such as meditation, such as yoga, such as breath work, or even psychedelics. If you can find a safe and secure way to do that, depending on where you live in the world, in which state, they may or may not be legal, they may or may not be decriminalized. So please, don't put yourself in harm, do your due diligence, and find a safe and effective way to go about this if you should choose to. But How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. I read this book years ago. I'm currently kind of rereading it and going back through the audiobook version. This is more like a preview for maybe a next video. A Dose of Hope. This is a story of MDMA-assisted psychotherapy by Dr. Den Engel and Alex Young. This is all about using MDMA for fighting PTSD, depression, and improving overall emotional health. Another book that I've really been enjoying is This Is Your Mind on Plants by Michael Pollan. He is also the author of How to Change Your Mind. This book was really, his writing is incredible, really, really well done. This book, he broke down, let me just read it again, opium, caffeine, and mescaline. So he really breaks down in a really interesting personal and historical and even clinical way, like what literally is happening to our minds, to our bodies, on certain plants. And one that really blew my mind the most was caffeine. A lot of people don't think about caffeine being a mind-altering substance, but it is. And I'd be willing to bet you watching, listening right now, you probably are a regular caffeine user. So the middle section, if nothing else, if psychedelics don't interest you at all, his section on caffeine, I think will. Made it, you want to stick around for the giveaway. Now, I know I said that I have 3 volumes of 3 books for you, but I just remembered when I was filming the Michael Pollan part about This Is Your Mind on Plants that I actually have an extra copy as well. So let's do that one first. So I have an extra copy of This Is Your Mind on Plants. This is a really interesting read, like I said, for a lot of different reasons. If you're interested in plant medicine, but also caffeine. So this is gonna be one of the giveaways. And then, now I'm not gonna take it down because I have this placed just so perfectly off of my ledge here that if I move it, it's gonna fall apart. But you know what, let me just grab the camera. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit, I guess, of a vloggy vlog style here. That's a word I haven't said before, but you guys can see me filming here. So let me show you, actually, because I have the books over here, but I have 3 sets of Ryan Holiday's, his kind of staple kit. These are the 3 books that I would recommend anybody if you're like, hey Chase, what should I read to, you know, get started on personal development, to try to just get better, to do the inner work, just learn a lot about overcoming problems, what it means to really truly understand your ego and not to like get rid of it. The ego is there to work with us if we can just find a way to coexist with it, I believe. And then probably my favorite one, Stillness is the Key, is just the power of finding quiet and peace and solace to get your deepest thinking done. I really recommend this kit to a lot of different people. So what we're gonna do here, I've got 3 of these and you're gonna, you know, each win 1 whole kit. Here's what I want you to do. Go ahead and leave a comment down below of which one of these books, any of the books that I talked about, that I recommended, that I reviewed, is of interest to you. Just name of the book and a short reason why. I would love to just get some engagement here and see what you're interested in. And that's gonna put you in the running for one of these books. And from when I publish this video to exactly 5 days later, 5 complete days later, I will be contacting you directly. Now, in order to win, like I said, just leave that comment below of which book stood out to you the most and why. Maybe you haven't read it, maybe you have, and you just want to kind of chime in on it. And you also must be a subscriber to the channel. So please go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below which one is your favorite and why, and I'll be picking a winner in exactly 5 days. Just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to watch the video and check it out, okay? And if you want to learn more about my books of the month, I do run a free book club every month. I will put the sign up form down in the comment section below, the description box below, where you can sign up. You're gonna get put on my email list, and on that email list, I will put out 1 email on the first of the month, within the first 1 or 2 days of the month, describing the book or books I'm reading that month and why. And then the rest of the month, you're getting a lot of great, amazing content from me all around health, wellness, personal development. I will never spam you. I'm just here to share what works for me to improve my mind, my body, my soul, and bring you along for the journey. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Again, subscribe, like, and drop a comment down below if you want to be entered into the giveaway.